Welcome to Answers for Living. We're going to be talking about loving God's way. Loving the way Jesus defines love is much different than loving the way people naturally define love in action. So in Answers for Living, we want to explore how love was defined before Christ and how love is defined after Christ. And I'm really talking about love before Christ in your life and love defined after Christ comes into your life. We want to define love Jesus' way. So first let's look at John chapter 13, 1-5. It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil was already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off the outer garment, wrapped himself in a towel round the waist, and after that he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with a towel that was wrapped around him. Now, this is Passover week. It is the week every Jewish family will put their regular daily life on hold. It was the week that every Jewish family would eat the same meal. They would say the same words. They would answer the same questions. Every Jewish family wanted to celebrate this Passover meal in Jerusalem at least once in their lifetime. And this was the night that they celebrated the deliverance that they received from God. The Jews had been enslaved in Egypt. They had been there for 400 years. God was ready to set them free. Pharaoh refused. God sent 10 plagues. 10th plague was the death of the firstborn son of every family. The death angel was coming, and every firstborn son was going to die, unless the blood of the lamb was painted on the door jambs of the house. And when the death angel moved through Egypt, the angel passed over every house that the blood was on the door jamb. This Passover meal celebrates their deliverance. Now Jesus is with his disciples that night, celebrating this meal. And it was that night that he picked up the fourth cup of wine and says to his disciples, "This meal has always been about me." The shed blood of the Lamb was a shadow of the shed blood that I'm going to shed for the forgiveness of your sins. But something else happened that night that was very special. As they walked into the house to take the meal, there was a basin of water and a towel, but there was no servant there to wash the feet of the guest. Now, it was the custom that the servant in the home would greet the guest and wash their feet. You say, why? Well, it kept them from tracking through the house the emissions from the animals that walked on the street. And it also, they reclined at a table, and you wouldn't want somebody's stinky feet next to your face. So Jesus gets up from the table and he takes off his outer garment, puts on a towel around his waist, and washes the feet of the disciples. The leader became the servant and washed their feet. Well, when Jesus finishes washing the feet, he says, "I did this for you. You need to do this for each other." Now we're going to pick the story up in verse 34. "A new commandment I give you. Love one another as I have loved you, so that you must love one another. By this everyone will know that you're my disciples, if you love one another." He says, guys, when I'm gone, you will need to love each other the way I loved you. It is the way everybody will know that you're my disciples. So remember, I washed your feet.